Hello and welcome back to the Rockies franchise. We are here in episode 4 and today we're going to play some games. Now I am going to start doing some heavy simulating starting next episode. We're going to try to wind down the season, have the draft coming up of course, see the trade deadline, and then obviously look to end the season. Probably not in the postseason, but today we're going to start off with some gameplay. We've got the Toronto Blue Jays here and Charlie Blackmon caught looking at a fastball. He will strike out there. And this is Yusei Kikuchi. And Rogers knocking this one well into the crowd there. Foul. And Kikuchi catches another looker here with the curveball. That is his second strikeout. Nolan Jones cracking this one off his bat though. It falls well short of the left fielder and he will get to first base. And Nolan Jones gets our day started. We have some offense here. So I wanted to get some games in today because we've been doing a lot of player locks and some innings here and there. Of course, the first episode of the series was a full game. And the check swing there gets the strike call. That's the end of the first inning. So I figured let's get some games in before we start doing the heavy simulating. I want to go ahead and close out this season, but I want to get some practice in between because I'm not very good at this game. You'll see when I'm batting, I'm just really bad on timing. So we'll try to get some gameplay in, get some practice, and we'll do some simulating and close out this season. Start getting the draft going and getting new players that we can actually follow and cheer for. It's probably one of my favorite aspects of franchise gaming is when you start getting your own guys into the system. You can start building the team the way you want to. As this one's popped up, Charlie Blackmon will be able to get under it. It's hard to find the ball there. And Gomber, who has had a pretty up and down season, but I think he's been one of the more bright spots on this pitching roster here. Starting off today, not too poorly, and right as I start saying that, this one hit out of the park, just barely bouncing off the fence there, and that is a home run for Bichette. And Gomber, not great there. So down 1-0 now. Blue Jays strike first, and this one popped up. It is foul, but that one was looking good for Guerrero. Vladimir now pops this one up, and this will stay fair. Bouncing just inside the line. Nolan Jones tracks it down. Throwing this one to second. And that is where Guerrero stays. He will stop with the double. Gomber probably getting one last chance here as this one's going to be belted out of the park. And the Blue Jays will put 3 on us in just the first inning. A terrible game so far for Gomber, and he's got to be pulled. Justin Turner with the 390-foot home run. So John Curtis checks into the game. He has had a fantastic season as a reliever so far. Really have liked what I've seen from him. And Curtis now ahead 2-1, and this one will be popped up, and that will be caught. That is a flyout, and the end of a disastrous first inning for the defense here in Toronto. The Rockies not looking good. Ezekiel Tovar checking in now, and this one will just fly out last second. Really thought that might stay fair and be a home run. My first user home run as Tovar crushes this one. But it will not have enough to get out of the park. So Tovar can't go yard on 2 really nice hits, honestly. And now Eleury Montero checks in. He'll knock this one up, and it's going to the wall, and it's not going to make it out of the park again. Some really, really good hits here in the second inning, and they just can't get out of the park. Curtis now with the slider, and that'll be a strikeout on Springer. So full outs here. That one called a strike. I don't know about that. Count runs even 1-1. Curtis, really nice four-seam fastball there. Not with the speed, but nice placement. And even count 2-2. This one hit right to Ezekiel Tovar. And this will be an easy throw out here at first. So we get out of the second inning. Still only down 3-0. And we'll simulate to the 6th where we're now tied 4-4. So some offense found here in Toronto. Of course, that's not with me at bat. No surprise there. And now I'm back at bat to ruin our chances as I'm striking out on the knuckle curve. Really struggling with some of these slower pitches, and the knuckle curve again getting me way too early with Elias Diaz. So Mitch White trying to throw me out with some of these slow ones here and chasing the slider way outside. I really need to work the rest of this season on getting better with my pitch timing, as Charlie Blackmon will hit this one to right field, and that'll be a base hit. Really nice play there for me. And Charlie Blackmon, of course. Now Brennan Rodgers checking into the game, and he'll hit this one, just barely goes foul before third base. A little early on that one. The slider. Nice timing, though. Comparatively. And then I swing at this one. I didn't mean to swing. Honestly, sometimes I'm watching a video on the side while playing. Nice slider there from Curtis. And then Beeks will check in here as we're getting a little tired on Justin Turner. But sometimes I'm watching on the side, not necessarily paying full attention, and I kind of panic. But that one did not go well. Beeks now 2-2, and this one's called a strike on the circle change up there. Beeks will strike out Justin Turner. Now Dalton Varsho checks in. Nice strike there on the slider. Some good finesse here from Beeks. Of course, with the score even here, we'd like to keep them at 4. Circle changeup gets a strike call there. Now ahead 2-1. This one belted to first base. Montero will easily run and tag. And that's another runner out. So the Rockies defense stepping up here. The reliever's playing a lot better than the starter. And now another strike. Really great pitches here from Beeks. This one hit and it stays fair. Bounced right on the line. That is a fair ball. And then Rodgers tags out but too slow. So actually a nice play there. We could have gotten the tag out, but instead it's a double. Now this one hit right by McMahon. Bouchard tracking it down, but that's going to be a score for the Blue Jays. And an RBI double for George Springer. Honestly, hard to necessarily blame Beeks fully on these pitches. 5-4 your score. And with 1 out left in the inning, Beek gets a strike call on the first one there. Now ahead 2-0. This one popped off foul. Alejandro Kirk. 1-2 the count. This one hit right to second, and Tovar throws this one to Montero, and that is the end of the inning. So a run scored there. Elias Diaz checks in. Jordan Romano pitching now and chasing the slider. Probably would have been called, but strike nonetheless. Chasing the slider once again also would have been called, but bad timing. Charlie Blackmon now checks in. Of course, he had the base hit in the 6th. Now at the top of the 9th, we need to get one run to tie the game. This one popped up, and it will not come down in time. That is caught, and that is an out. And the Rockies have one more out remaining in this game. Rodgers gets a hold of this one, but not enough as that one's popped up, and the Blue Jays will win off some really bad defense and some really bad offense from me. Well, let's take a look at some scouting here. Alan Villa's starting pitcher. We had him as the #1 prospect in MLB. And he's actually the 26th now, according to our board, after 40% scouting. And I'm just not loving what I see here. So we're going to move on from him. Keith Winter, the shortstop, has some good potential and could be, overall-wise, a really good player after 25% scouting. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to the scouting stuff, is we'll go ahead and look at Richard Bloom, #5 prospect and 3rd on our board. I don't know what I'm looking for here. I'm not utilizing Discovery well enough, and my scouts honestly weren't that good of scouts. I did not know that until after a decent bit of scouting. I've recorded a lot of the first season, I'm just going to go ahead and say. So that was a bit of a learning curve for me, and we'll see how well my scouting does once we hit the draft. Let's go ahead and look at the trade board here, I guess. There are definitely some players I want to look to move on from. Cal Quantrill being one of them, having a horrifically bad season. As our #1 pitcher with Herman Marquez, Quantrill performing that badly is not good. Blackmon also is having a pretty bad season, easily his worst ever, really. And I know he's been with the Rockies for his whole time. I don't have that kind of sentiment, though. I can move on from him. These are two players that could find success for buying organizations looking to make a run. Let's go ahead and get back into the game here. Another game against the Blue Jays. We'll see how that goes, putting them on the trade block. As Brendan Rodgers checks in against Gausman. Gets a hold of this one. This one's going out. Not far enough, though. That'll be caught easily for a flyout. And a lot of flyouts in this episode for me. I was actually getting some decent contact with the ball, but none of them were super powerful hits. Nolan Jones checks in. Of course, he had the base hit in the last game. Gausman up to 8 pitches now, and Nolan Jones will pop this one up. Unfortunately, barely catching that ball. Caught by the catcher, and that's the end of the first inning for us. So now pitching, Cal Quantrill. He's on the trade block. I think no matter what happens, I want to move on from him. He's got a contract that I'd like to move on from. Whether it's 1 year or longer, does not matter to me. We just got to get that money off the books. And we got to get what we can out of somebody like this who's performing so horribly for us. I don't know if his trade value will ever be any higher than it is right now at this point. And not that it's very high, but it's definitely only going to get lower. Quantrill, some nice pitches here, but then this one hit to Nolan Jones. It bounces first, and that is a base hit for George Springer once again. Springer, of course, getting the winning run last time. Now Bichette in. He had a nice game too last game. This one a little late to second and then thrown to first. We do at least get the out there, so no double play to end the inning. And Guerrero checks into the game, misses on the splitter there. Really nice pitch. Of course, Guerrero definitely hit a few as well. Hits this one. McMahon catches it. Will tag out, running to third there. And Springer can't make any magic happen. We move on. Now to the 4th inning. Score is 0-2 Blue Jays. This one doesn't stay fair. Probably would have been caught out anyway. Diaz now even 1-1. Gausman still pitching now, 30 pitches in. Doesn't look like he's had to worry about stamina because he's been easily striking us out or flying us out. And a swing and a miss on the fastball there from Elias Diaz. Just not one you want to swing at. Rogers checks in. A nice hit here. Pretty decent contact, but not good enough, as this one will be caught about left field, maybe center left. And Nolan Jones checking in. Swinging and missing on that one. Very late. And then looking at the fastball, that one's out. And that's the end of the 4th inning. So Quantrill pitching now. Well, I guess the end of the first part of the inning. Adele Amador tracking this ball down, and he does find it. So 0-2. Got to escape this inning with at least the same deficit. And a weird string by Votto there on the 2-seam fastball. Don't think that had any chance. I'm not sure why he swung at it. Now 2 outs. Quantrill. The check swing's actually called there. Very surprised about that. Varsho behind 2-0 and swings on the 2-seam fastball. Quantrill pitching a pretty decent game here, actually. Charlie Blackmon chasing a splitter that he can't time well. And then chasing another splitter that he shouldn't have chased anyway, timing or not. McMahon checks in, and he can't hit the slider. Bad timing there, too early. I'm always too early on these. And then a swing and a miss on the splitter. And an 8th strikeout here for Gausman. Great game so far for him. And then Amador hits this one right to the first baseman. Easy tag out there at first. Now the bottom of the 5th. Can we get something going here? Quantrill, this one hit. Tovar grabs it easily enough. And then Doyle can't cleanly catch it. So an error there will force Quantrill. I guess it's not really his pitch. It's not an earned base hit there. This one will be, though, hit fair. Stays on the line, and that'll be a single for Kevin Kiermaier. And Quantrill will get pulled here for Jalen Beeks, who I thought was okay last game until he wasn't. And definitely expecting this to be a hit here. Maybe try to get a base run, or at least advance the runners a little bit. Chasing the circle and failing there. Now count runs even 2-2. This one hit right to Rogers, who could have gotten a double play here. Could have tagged and then gone to first, but again, I just don't know what I'm doing. I don't have auto fielding on. I might sometimes turn auto fielding on. We'll see. It depends on how relaxed I want to be. And then Doyle, again, dropping this one. Another error as the Blue Jays score, and now we have splits on first and third. Split runners, that is. Guerrero checks in, and then we'll knock this one out of the park. The Blue Jays will tack on another 3 runs, and with the score 6-0, I wanted nothing to do with the rest of this game. Guerrero basically ending this one as Beeks gives up the home run. Just an abysmal episode all around for the Rockies. Really unimpressed with what I saw in this Blue Jays series. And that will all but do things as the Blue Jays win this one going away. Not even close. And the Rockies got to look to the future here. We're going to keep scouting pitchers because I think our pitching staff really sucks, frankly. Richard Bloom still looking pretty solid here. Not necessarily generational, but definitely could be really good if he's on the higher end of those ratings. We're going to scout pitchers in the West, and we're going to try to discover some infielders in the East. Again, I don't know what I'm doing here with these scouting staff. So I think next season I'll try to do some research and see if I can do a little better on that. But we end this episode 5-16, easily worst in the NL West. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your game. A great rest of your day, I suppose. I will see you in the next one. Let's hope it's better.